Okay, welcome to the Fox. In your kit, you got some little cups that had paint in them. You're going to want to put some of this paint on your plate. We probably will not use most of the paint, so you'll have some left over. Maybe you will use it all, maybe you won't, but either way, you'll probably end up with some left over. I spread my white out on my plate, and then I have some blue, some black, and then if you put your orange and your brown next to each other, we're going to end up kind of mixing those up a little bit. So I'm going to show you your background first, and all you have to do right now is just watch me. So I have my plate, I have a couple napkins, a cup with some water, and two brushes, a larger one and a smaller one. For the background, I prepped this so that I could go from thing to thing so I could keep showing you. So I'm going to show you the background using a smaller canvas, but you have a nice big one. So I'm just going to set this aside, and I'm just going to flip to the smaller one. Okay, so all you have to do is watch right now. The beauty of this recording is that you will be able to pause it. Now, I say this on every recording. If you have any great ideas or some requests, feel free to shoot me a message and be like, hey, I would really like to paint this. I listen. So, all right, so I'm going to go on the edge of my white. Now, if you remember looking at this, we're going to need clean white here, 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 here. So you don't want all of your white to turn blue. You have extra white, so don't use it all up. So I'm just going to go on the edge of my white, dot of blue. So it's a lot of white, little blue. You'll pull your canvas forward, and right now you're just kind of watching. If you decide that you want to start painting, you can, and listen to me. But like I said, you'll be able to pause this at some point. So I'm just going to take more white, dot of blue. I take quite a bit. You'll also notice that I hold my brush way down here, almost like you would a pencil. And I'm going to paint this side. And I'm moving kind of quick, and that's because you will be able to pause it. I am not painting the bottom. More white, dot of blue. I have not dipped my brush in any water, and I don't want you to either. Okay, so if you are painting, I want you just to pause yourself and watch me. I did my top, my side, and my side. Not dipping my brush in any water. I'm going to use up the rest of this white, grab a little bit more dot of blue, and almost paint in a rainbow. So I'm just going to go like this from one side to the next, one side to the next. I'm just going to come up here and grab this and just kind of get it good. All right, one side to the next. Take some more white. See how I'm just kind of painting in a rainbow? Pay attention. If it soaks in, you want to add more paint there. So I'm going to take some white, but I'm going to add a little bit of extra blue this time, just because I want to have some different variations to the color. So still painting. You'll see that I go up, and then I go back down. And I'm going from this side to this side. This side to this side. I'm going to take some more white, some blue, and and the reason I go back and forth and up and down is because I want to make sure that I'm really getting a good coat of paint on here. So I'm almost to the point where I want to be. And then you'll be able to pause this and get to where I am. So I'm just going to lift this up so you can see. You don't even have to go all the way to the bottom. I'm just going to stop right about here. Okay? So I have a nice, good coat on there. You can see I didn't go all the way to the bottom, and that's totally fine. So at this point, you could pause your video and get caught up with me. So go ahead and hit the pause. Okay, hopefully you're all caught up. I'm just gonna wash out my brush here. Just kind of twirling it around here, rinsing it off extra, extra good. Bringing it on my napkin. I don't want any blue remaining. Now what I'm gonna do is we're gonna be using some of this clean white. So hopefully you allowed some of that there. And I'm just gonna turn this upside down. Now, if yours is still super wet, what you'll want to do is pause this video. Don't walk away and go watch a show. You're gonna wanna fan it, because if you walk away, then your paint is gonna dry too. But if you can just take it and fan it for a couple minutes, it dries really, 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 really fast. So I'm just gonna take some white, and take a scoop here, so quite a bit, and just dab, 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 dab. So you can go ahead and pause the video again. If you need to fan because it's super, super, super wet, you can, but you can try dabbing it. If all your dabs are turning it blue, then you're gonna need, like right there, how it's turning it blue. Grab some more white, but if you need to fan it, you certainly can. So you can pause. You also notice that it kind of comes down a little bit. It doesn't have to be like straight across. So go ahead, pause the video, and put your snow on, just with a dab, dab, dab. Okay, so hopefully yours is looking similar to mine. We are almost at the point where we're going to be able to switch to my prepped canvas. I did that so that I'd be able to get the fox on there easier to be able to show you. So I'm going to show you the beginning of the tree here, and I'm going to be switching to this smaller brush. Now, when you're painting a tree, the big thing to remember is that you're going to be painting more V's, and you're going to be going slower, and you're probably going to have to dip your brush in a lot of paint. So I'm just going to move this up here. I wonder if you can still see it up there. If I just tilt it a little bit, you'll be able to see that. Okay, so I'm going to put this one that I had all ready. Look at that. All ready to go. Okay, so we have our background, and then I had the start of the tree so that you could see it. So when you're painting this, you're going to notice that the trunk is wider. So you'll be using your black paint. And you might have to just kind of scoop it on there, hold it like this, and you're going to paint this black trunk. Okay? So I'm going to come up here, and I'm just going to show you what that looks like. So I'm just going to come on here, and it's just going to be a little bit wide. And it's going to come right down to your snow. Now, if you need to fan your canvas, you can pause this and fan it, but remember, don't just walk away from it, because then your paint will dry, and then that will be frustrating. Now, I do have a little bit of white coming through, and that's perfectly acceptable. It just gives it a little bit of texture. So we have our trunk there. You can see that coming on there. And then I'm just going to come here and bring this one out and this one out, and now I have a Y, don't I? You can kind of see how I have the shape of a Y. Now, from the Y, I'm going to make a whole bunch of V's. So you see a V, and a V, maybe one here. So you don't need a ton of branches, but we just want some. This can come out here. My tree is pretty tall, so if you're ready to go ahead and start painting your tree, you can go ahead and pause the video and work on your tree. And then unpause the video when you are all done with the tree. Okay, so now in your kit, you will have the option to either have the sitting or the standing fox. So you will have on a piece of paper 2 outlines that you're going to need to cut out. So what you'll do is you'll pick which one you want. Now, there is a chance, I'm doing this for 10 students first, so there is a chance that you maybe only have 1 fox, and that is only because maybe the first time around, one of them didn't work as well for the kits. So if you're like, hey, I only have 1 fox, it's because it didn't work out the first time around, and you're getting like a further down the line kit, okay? So I do worry a little bit about these little feet and how that will work. So maybe ask mom or dad to help you cut out the fox. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take that piece of paper and you're going to have mom or dad help you trace it onto your canvas carefully with a pencil. Okay? So, for example, here's for the elephant class, if you were doing the elephant, you would hold it on there and then trace it on with a pencil. And so that's where you can see where I would be concerned about all these little feet. So I'm going to show the sitting fox because quite frankly, the more I talk about it, the more concerned I get. So I'm going to show the sitting fox because chances are in your kit, that's what you got. So I'm going to come on here and I'm just going to trace it on using my stencil. But again, you're going to have a piece of paper that you will need to pause the video and trace it on. So I am just tracing mine on, and you can just hang tight here. You'll get a chance to pause your video in a second. I'm pretty fast to trace. So, plan on a sitting fox. So if you're like, hey, I didn't get a standing fox, you're right, you didn't. Okay, so this part you're going to want to draw on with white or with the pencil, and here with the pencil, because that part is going to be white. All right? So I'm going to take this little brush that I cleaned all the black off of, because I'm not going to want it to be dirty. And I'm going to go to my clean white area. And the first thing I'm going to look for is my fox floating? Is my fox floating in the air? Because if your fox is floating in the air, you're going to need to put some snow down here. So you would just add some snow. But my fox is not floating in the air. And I don't even know if I tilt it a little bit. I'm just going to bring this forward so you can see the fox. So if you're already painting, I'm going to have you pause yourself and look up so you can see what I'm doing. Can you see the pencil lines? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this part white, and I'm going to cover up those pencil lines. I'm going to go right over the top of them and get rid of them. You may be getting a kit super in the future from this video, and maybe by then you'll already have your fox traced on if I can figure out a clever way to do that with painting the blue. I just feel like this might be the easiest way. but we'll see. So either way, you'll either have a stencil that you'll have to cut out, or it'll be like magic and your fox will already be traced right on there for you. But then if I do that, I'll probably have had to record a new video. All right. So just painting this part white. Okay, and I'm covering up. All right, see how I did that? Now, if my fox was floating, I would have to put some snow there. Okay? So now I'm not even gonna wash my brush. I have this orange and brown here. I'm just gonna stir it up a little bit in the center to try to get a nice browny orange fox color. Okay, like that. Now if you want, you could add a little bit of white to it even. I like adding white into colors. I feel like it helps it go on smoother. And then you don't see through it as much. It helps it like almost like a primer. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm slowly going to paint in my fox. So I'm just gonna come on here. I'm covering up my pencil lines. And I'm just slowly painting in right over the pencil lines. I always look for a spot to rest my pinky. And I hold it. Can you see how I'm holding my brush? Now if you can see snow through there, I'm just gonna kind of come on here and just add some extra paint. Just kind of make it a little bit thicker. Okay, see how it's kind of coming together? Come on here, the feet. So you can go ahead and pause me and paint in your fox, and then unpause the video when you are all done with your fox. If you need to put on 2 coats onto your fox, you certainly can. Okay, so I have my fox on there. I am just going to rinse out my brush. So while our fox dries, we're gonna pop some snow here and there. Hopefully you still have some white paint. I gave you way too much, so I am hoping that you still have some. And you didn't turn it all blue and you listened to me without me saying, listen to me, listen to me. Okay, so I am taking this little brush. I'm gonna be gentle with it because you get to keep this if you got it in your kit. Otherwise, if you have it at home, it's yours too. So you want to take care of your things. So with these little brushes, they have such few bristles that you just want to be gentle. So I'm just taking a scoop of white here. Now snow falls down, so it's going to be on the top of the branches. And I'm just dab, 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 dab. And I'm just dabbing on, kind of just here and there. I'm taking it a lot, aren't I? I mean, this might take some time to dry, and it's kind of thick. But do you see how often I'm going down to get more paint? The other thing you can do is you can take a little dollop of paint and come down here by your tree where the trunk is and add some there too. You could also add a little bit down by his feet. Okay? Once you have your snow on your tree the way you want it, I'm just gonna rinse, 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 rinse. Gently dry it off. Use the hard end of your brush. And if you go real slow, dot, 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 dip, dot, dot, dot. So you can pause the video and put your snow on. Now wait, pause for a second. If you did want to put words on, you might want to put your words on first. I am going to recommend that you ask mom or dad for a Sharpie. Okay, so we're not in class together, obviously, so you would need to ask for a Sharpie. I would say most of the kids may skip putting words, or they might just put winter, or they might just put fun, or they might put hope or love or their name. You do not have to put the words that I put. You can put anything you want, or you can choose to put nothing. But you would want to put the words now before you put the snow. So if you want to put words, you would put it now before you put the snow. Okay? So you would pause the video, get your words on, and then put the snow. Okay, so I would pause my video, put the words on. So let me grab my Sharpie. So I'm gonna write snow. Snow. Fun. While you have your Sharpie, you could also put your initials. So I'm going to put them up here today. My initials are PK. You can put your initials, which is the first letter of your first name and the first letter of your last name. So I put my words that I wanted to put, and then keep that Sharpie near you. Now I'm going to go back to putting my snow. So you can pause and do those things. So I'm putting my snow all over. If you are back and you paused it and I'm still putting snow on, you can see, is your face of your fox dry? If it's not, go ahead and start fanning it. We're gonna need that area dry to put the face on. All right, so I have all of that on. I'm just gonna take my napkin and wipe that off. All right. So you can use your little tiny brush again, and if you'd like to add little lines onto your fox's back, right here you can. You can also fluff up his tail a little bit, and I'm going to show you. So I'm just coming on here and fluff. See if I can hold it a little bit closer so you can see. I'm just kind of fluffing it. Just here and there, kind of go back and forth. Just making it a little, like he's fluffy. I'm just going to put a little bit there too. Okay. Then the front of his ear could have a little bit of white. All right. And rinse out that brush. Oh, before you rinse out the brush, make sure that if you wanted to put those little white lines, you can. Some kids choose to do that. Some kids choose to skip it. No right or wrong. Okay? All right. So then with your little brush, just going to take black and do this part of the ear. And the tip of the nose, which you could also use the Sharpie for. Any of this stuff now you could use the Sharpie for. Don't push hard if you're using the brush. A little circle for the eye. Again, you could use the Sharpie for. Very, very light touch eyebrow Sharpie if you have one. Smile. Sharpie. I'm just going to keep saying Sharpie. Couple whiskers. Sharpie for that too if you have one. Okay? If you want to highlight your tree a little bit with white, you certainly could because you have some time. I just take a little bit of white on my brush, not a lot, and I'm just here and there, just adding some texture to my tree. If you get too much, here's the beauty of this. Don't rinse your brush, just take some black and mute it out a little bit, and then it'll turn just like this nice gray where you just have just a little hint of something going on, something artsy. Okay, so there you have your snowy fox. Make sure you get some pictures, send them to me or to your teacher, and there is your snowy fox. So I hope you enjoyed your class, and I look forward to seeing your finished project. Thank you.